Hello and welcome to the Tech for Climate podcast. I'm Guillaume, your host, and each week I'm fortunate to share with you stories from climate tech founders, investors, and corporations sharing their unique insights into this fast-moving industry. Eventually, like me, you will learn, discover, and get inspired by those unique men and women who are contributing to the fight against climate change, and I hope it will help you to take a step in this formidable movement. So before we start, I just want to share a few words about us, as this podcast is just the tip of the iceberg of what we do at Startup Basecamp to support the climate tech movement. Our mission is to accelerate capital deployment towards climate tech founders, allowing them to focus on scaling their solutions. How do we do that? Every day, we help founders access to resources and connection and gain the visibility they need to expand their growth. We do this in a number of ways with a membership platform, a Slack group with a growing number of founders, investors, and experts from around the world. And recently, we went one step further with the matching services to connect founders with top climate tech investors. Keep in mind that we are able to do all of this thanks to the support of our listeners and our members. So please like and subscribe, share one episode with a friend, join a community, and if you haven't already done so, make a small donation to support our work. It really means the world to us. And now, enjoy the show! Hi everyone, in this latest episode of Founder Series, join me in a roundtable discussion with Beth Zonis, the Senior Director at Cleantech Open Northeast chapters, alongside 6 finalists from the 2023 program. Known as the cradle of cleantech innovation, the Cleantech Open is the launchpad for green technology ideas. This marks our third encounter with Beth and the latest cohort of changemakers who are shaping our environmental future, and the conversation has never been more compelling. In this session, you will hear directly from these innovators: Shiv Bhakta, founder of Active Surfaces, a startup that is commercializing an ultra-thin film solar technology based on decades of MIT research. The technology can unlock terrawatts of dual land use next generation deployment. Ryan Letts will join us. He is the CEO of May, a company devoted to innovation primarily in the renewable and reusable energy sector. They are constantly striving for global method change through continuous learning, research, and development. Then Ed Smith, co-founder and co-CEO at Amplify Energy, a startup that promotes the adoption of heat pump systems amongst American homeowners. They make game-changing software tools for HVAC contractors, from load calc to system design to quote to rebate management. Amplify software makes heat pump installers' life way easier. Ling Chen Kong, co-founder of LXCO, which offers chemical-free electricity-driven direct lithium extraction technology. Battery-grade lithium hydroxide could be produced from geothermal brine or other aqueous lithium sources. Then we have John Harold, founder of Zinco Verde, a startup that makes new, enhanced, more eco-friendly nano ultra-pure metal oxides and metal oxide blends. And finally, Justina Budetti, co-founder and CEO of Space Sense, a technology company helping organizations build geospatial AI simpler. That provides an AI toolbox designed to help geospatial data scientists and developers build AI solutions faster, easier, and at scale. Get ready to be part of their journey and discover how you can contribute to their mission for a cleaner, greener planet. Don't miss out on these stories of resiliency, innovation, and the quest for a sustainable tomorrow. Tune in to learn more and mobilize to join the cleantech revolution. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Hi everyone, welcome to the Tech for Climate podcast. We are super happy to have you here today. with us in this new episode of our Founder Series. As last year, we're doing this collaboration with the Cleantech Open. It's going to be a bit special format in collaboration with the Northeast chapter and Beth Zonis, Senior Program Director here. We have 2 Cleantech Open national finalists and 4 Northeast regional winners. So already, all of you guys, congrats. We can't wait to hear a little bit more about your story, what you're doing. And what I propose is we're going to start with you, Beth, for this first part of the interview. So Beth, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the Cleantech Open program. How does it work? If you can give us a 30-second introduction.
Of course, I'd be glad to. And thank you, Guillaume, for this opportunity. So Cleantech Open is a national accelerator. It is the world's oldest and largest startup accelerator for clean tech startups. The Northeast region is what I run, and that spans now from Eastern Canada to Virginia. And the accelerator is run in the Northeast by NECEC, the Northeast Clean Energy Council. And just so you know, the Northeast region now spans from, as I said, from Eastern Canada to Virginia. NECEC leads the just and equitable transition to a clean energy future and a diverse climate economy. But I just wanted to make a quick comment about what it is. So the accelerator is like a mini MBA with expert mentoring and lots of professional networking and connections. Happy to tell you more.
Yeah, definitely. I love to dig a little bit more and to kind of understand, and for the audience here, and all, especially for the founders listening to this episode. I mean, how is the program in itself articulated along that period? I mean, and maybe tell us a little bit about the thesis behind it. I mean, why did you guys saw this need into the market and the need of supporting those type of founders and articulating into that format per se? I mean, who should come and pitch you, and for who does it fit?
Of course. Okay, so that's a lot of questions all together.
Exactly.
So, I can tell you that that we really have in the Northeast region, we think in terms of 3 broad areas where we're making a positive impact, and our kind of why is about combating climate change, growing the green economy, and driving environmental equity. In terms of who should participate, we are always looking for the next generation of emerging clean tech startups to join us. And so for people who are out there who are interested, our sweet spot is startups that don't yet have equity funding or revenue. You should have a solution that can benefit the environment. There should be 2 of you on a team that can participate, and you should be serious about commercializing your technology, and you should be ready to work hard. This is a rigorous program. As I said, it's like a mini MBA with a lot of exercises, a lot of work that will really enable you to propel forward relatively quickly.
That sounds very exciting. So, do you have any criteria maybe in terms of impact? How do you measure impact for all of those companies? I mean, what is the process and the framework? Maybe do you rely on a team of scientists, or it's too early stage, but you guys assess that in a different manner? Tell us a bit more about it.
Of course, I'm happy to talk about impact. That's one of my favorite topics. So I can tell you that we measure impact in terms of those 3 parameters that I mentioned earlier: environmental equity, the environment itself, and of course the green economy. So I can give you some numbers. So since 2005, Cleantech Open has graduated 601 clean tech startups in the Northeast, and collectively 74% of them are still active or have been acquired. Collectively, they have raised over $1.47 billion. They're employing over 4,400 people, and their annual revenue is close to $700 million. 68% of the founders of startups in the 2023 cohort are women or members of underserved communities. So in terms of what we teach that will enable our startups to get help us get to these numbers. In terms of environmental impact, we teach the entrepreneurs how to measure their emissions reduction potential. And in 2021, the Cleantech Open Northeast startups estimated their aggregate emissions reduction potential at 101 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent per year, which is like taking 22 million cars off the road. Listen to this, though. The 2023 cohort estimates that when they're at scale, they'll reduce or eliminate, over 1,761,000,000 metric tons of CO2 per year, which is equivalent to taking 392 million gas-powered cars off the road each year. So we enable them to help them to make those calculations on what is going to be their environmental footprint and impact. We also enable them to prepare for those key conversations with investors. And in fact, all the materials that they create are really the starting point for not only building the business, but also being a starting point for a data room for investors. So they should be well on their way to connecting with investors and having productive conversations.
So you mentioned that I think it was 68% or 78% of the startups that went through the program are still alive today. So any success stories that you would like to share quickly? A few examples of like successful companies that emerged from your program?
I love to talk about success stories, and our number is 74%, which is amazing, especially when you think about where they're starting with us, which is with 2 people. So to think that, you know, they're able to grow and really make a difference. Several of our alumni from recent years have had big raises recently. Not sure if you have heard of Osmosis, recently raised $11 million. Clarity just announced that they raised $16 million. And Princeton New Energy just raised, I believe, $60 million. And we have some companies out there that are, you know, in market that are really making a difference. And you've probably heard of Spark Charge, that has electric vehicle charging stations that are really profligating around the country. And also another big one that you've probably heard of is Bevy, which makes water dispensers for still water as well as flavored or unflavored seltzer.
It was very exciting. A lot of like different areas and different success stories. So congratulations. So when is the next batch starting? I mean, how can the audience apply to join you guys?
Love that question. So in the early part of 2024, we will be holding kickoff events around the region and virtually to encourage folks to apply. Applications will be due in mid-April. And we will get started again in mid to late May with the 2024 cohort. So we're excited to see who emerges. And there is also something else which is exciting, which is that this year, Cleantech Open Northeast won a prize from the Department of Energy for direct air capture. So we will be running a direct air capture academy in 2024 with some early stage startups in that category as well.
Fantastic. Sounds very promising. So next year we'll have different, also do the DAC companies on the show, hopefully. So that's very exciting. So thank you so much, Beth, for presenting and sharing all of those super interesting details about this amazing program that we're so happy to support. I believe you have to go, you mentioned, or you're going to stay during the rest of the episode?
I might stay for a little bit just to hear some of the comments.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys. So now we're going to start with Shiv and active surfaces.
Thanks for having
Shiv
me.
Ready? You're welcome. Welcome. All right, Shiv, it's your turn.
I'm excited. Let's jump into it.
Welcome to the show. So in 30 seconds, if you can maybe give us like to the audience an introduction about what you guys do with active surfaces.
Yeah, of course. And thanks for having us. So I'm Shiv, one of the co-founders of Active Services, and we reimagine solar in the built environment. An interesting notion is that solar is the most distributed resource around the world, but access to it is often not. My family grew up in a rural village in India, and my grandma's house, which I spent a lot of time in, the roof is made of straw and clay. And that building, like a lot of the buildings around the world, weren't really designed to handle the weight of solar today. They're heavy, they're encased in thick glass, and they require structural support. So if we want to truly decarbonize our planet and accelerate solar, we need to get to the point where we can put it literally anywhere at an affordable cost. And this is why top researchers at MIT have spent a decade developing a flexible, lightweight alternative, something designed for the built environment. If you're on the video, you can see a plastic and a fabric form factor. This MIT developed IP enabled us to print solar cells 120 times lighter. You can wave it around, you can crumple it up, you get the same power for the same area. And we use domestically sourced materials and manufacture it here at home. We're targeting the built environment. We can prefab materials, but the initial form factor is kind of like a yoga mat, like a solar yoga mat. The founding team is myself. I'm an MSMBA from MIT with experience from Exxon and the DOE, and my co-founder, who's a PhD, that was one of the researchers. Our advisors include Nobel laureates, multiple-time deep tech founders, and roll-to-roll manufacturing experts.
So definitely super interesting. So my first question for you, Shiv, would be like, I mean, what is your go-to-market strategy? And when you start to acquire this market, I want to understand like how you're gonna manage the logistic chain and production manufacturing chain behind that. If you can tell the audience a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it's a great question. And as a business guy, that's what I spend most of my time thinking about. So the form factor is relatively novel, right? Because we're used to these glass panels in a 1 by 2 meter glass container. So we needed to target a market where you had an unfair advantage, where someone absolutely needs your product, and where you can scale to the gigawatt scale to large manufacturing capacity as fast as possible. And there's a couple of places that make sense, but the one that stood out to us the most is low load commercial warehousing, specifically buildings in the US where you can't handle the weight of solar without reinforcing the building. And you don't want to penetrate the roof. You don't want to pay the extra couple dollars a watt to reinforce the building. So you can unroll a yoga mat on top and still get the energy production that you want.
In terms of production, what was the cost of each of your panel compared to the regular one? I understand that here there's a real need because there's no, in a way, alternative thanks to the lightweight option that you offer. But price-wise, and then how are you guys planning to commercialize, and I would say not commercialize, but manufacture those panels?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of right now where we are, we just spun out this year, which is why we were supported by Cleantech Open because we're early stage. We're TRL level 4. Our early manufacturing though, so like let's say you want to be the first couple megawatts of our product, you get the same like a similar LCOE compared to silicon today, which is quite nice for an early stage product. Generally, you have to pay a significant premium. But in the long run, and this is not just us, in general, the field is expecting perovskites to be way cheaper than silicon today. Especially if you include the form factor savings of labor and structural costs. Like I don't know if I specifically mentioned it, but most of the cost when you install solar today is beyond the module. So if we can save that by doing something that's easier to install and easier to integrate, then you can save both on the per module basis as well as the overall install. So anyways, in the long term, it'll be significantly cheaper. In the short term, we're expecting parity.
And I think I'm going to repeat myself, but where do you plan to produce and manufacture all of those solar panels, and how difficult is that at scale, I would say?
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't answer your question. In terms of manufacturing, we're planning on, so we do roll to roll, and there's a big strength of doing that here in the Northeast specifically, because Polaroid, Kodak, there's a lot of large companies that have this experience. And not just these companies, our advisors are people that scaled up processes for this for decades. My co-founder's PhD was in this. So we're planning on doing our pilot facility here in the 50 megawatt a year scale. And then after that, we're going to go wherever the incentives and the manufacturing makes the most sense.
So tell me a bit more about the initial challenges, like that you guys were facing before joining Cleantech Open, and in a way, what's the
what did the program in a way brought you and helped you to figure it out or to understand to move to the next step with your company?
There was as an early stage startup, there's a lot of challenges, and I'm sure all the other folks on the call can agree, because you have to answer 100 different questions, and you don't even have a fully established business yet. So how you have to figure all that out as you're going through it. So some of the specific things that was really helpful for us was emissions modeling in general, like what is our emission reduction potential, and we developed a market-based model that was that was supported by a lot of our advisors and mentors that really helped us talk to VCs and say, listen, this is our go-to-market strategy. Here's how much we plan to capture. Here's what that corresponds to in terms of reduction potential, and this is why this is such a huge opportunity. And being able to articulate that and kind of show the data behind in the background is very meaningful. We also, and this is, I guess, more standard early stage startup stuff, but we're hiring a ton and we're building out our network. And I think that requires a lot of support in terms of even dumb questions, like how are you doing your benefits, or how are you structuring your letters? There's a lot of generic operations things that are just really nice to lean on a community for, which was helpful for us.
So overall, positive experience with Cleantech Open?
Highly recommend, yeah.
Fantastic. I'm sure Beth's going to be super happy to hear that again. So what's next for you guys?
Next is we're wrapping up our funding round, hopefully in the next few months here. And then we're hiring people like fire right now, all PhDs that are in device engineering or spectroscopy. We're building a lab space here in the greater Boston area, and we're starting to nail down our tech milestones. So it's all tech development, hiring, and lab space focused.
Any specific asks for the community of founders, investors, or experts listening to the show that you could benefit from?
Yeah, the thing I've been thinking about a lot is built to help reach net zero. A lot of people, and not just us, not just every startup here, but also in the greater climate tech community, is going to have to build real things, whether it's on the energy generation side or transmission or carbon capture. There's a lot of different technologies that need to exist that don't exist right now, and that requires physical assets, and building anything is hard. So we think that we would love support on the smart people that want to help us develop our biz dev strategy or help us develop actually the physical technology. If there's people that want to help us pilot and partner and help us work towards early demonstrations, that'd be amazing. Or if there's investors that want to get connected early for our next round, all of that is of interest.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time and incredible effort that you guys are doing to build an amazing new solution for a better world. So thank you so much for coming, Shiv, and congrats.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Now let's move on with Ryan.
Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here.
Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
So you're with Cleantech, if I'm pronouncing right with my Frenchy accent, even though I'm from Belgium.
You did.
All right. So maybe you can give us a 30-second introduction about Cleantech and what is the problem that you guys are solving and for who?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. So my name is Ryan Letts, the founder of Cleantech and inventor of the patented Zephyr maglev alternator. I'm a U.S. military veteran who specialized in delivering energy to our troops off-grid. So the Zephyr removes friction and associated energy losses that are typical of standard alternators used in wind turbines. This technology can increase the energy production of wind turbines by up to 10%. If it were available before building the fleet of wind turbines in the US, we'd have enough energy to produce an extra 3.8 billion kilowatt hours of energy today. That is enough to power over 357,000 homes and eliminate 2.7 million tons of greenhouse gases annually. So wind turbine rotation is converted to electricity by the alternator. The problem is that the bearings, gearings, brushes, and shaft of wind turbines grind and cause friction and heat, which shortens the equipment's useful life and saps energy that could be converted to electricity. Even with costly maintenance, such as checking the gears and changing lubricant, some alternators wear or burn out prematurely, requiring expensive repair or replacement. These factors increase the levelized cost of energy. So we use magnetic levitation to remove the bearing gears and brushes and shaft, which cause the grinding and wears down the equipment. We also over-engineered the Zephyr and designed a built-in heatsink that extracts electricity that's flowing through the system. We also improved the composition of the electricity generating magnets, and we expect these improvements to increase the output, lower OpEx and maintenance, and extend their useful life, potentially lowering the levelized cost of energy.
Okay, so tell us maybe to the audience a little bit more about like how did you start? I mean, how did you came by saying, okay, now I wanna move into that and solve that problems. Can you tell us a bit about the genesis of your company in itself, and why and how did you start to scratch your head around that and find solution for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it started when I was in the military, having experienced this problem firsthand. After I left, I worked in architecture and came up with a solution that took me many years to actually come up with a design. I started working with my co-founder, Aaron Goikadash, who is a former dean of electrical engineering at New York City College of Technology. And we came up with some prototypes that we're able to test and apply for patents for this technology. Initially, we weren't even thinking about wind turbines or anything like that. We were just thinking, hey, we're engineers, let's solve an engineering problem. When we got introduced to Cleantech, they opened us up to actually really exploring the market, seeing where there's a fit for our technology. And that really helped put us on the right track. So all of that, from Genesis to where we are today, a lot of it is in due in part to the folks at Cleantech and the mentor team.
Okay, so tell me a bit more about are you guys replacing those parts within the wind turbine when the wind turbine is in operation, or how does it work? Is only for the new ones? I believe it's not for only the new ones, or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're right. So to be clear, we're focusing on one component within the turbine, which is the workhorse, the alternator that does the conversion of the electricity. Obviously, there are multiple issues with wind turbines. The most obvious is with the blades. But internally, the parts, they have a lot of motion, and those movements, they grind and cause friction, right? So we're replacing that key problem within the alternators themselves, right? So for us, we see this approach as something that is going to be sustainable because we're taking a different approach than what's currently out there. And from what we've seen, right, a lot of the solutions are based for wind farms, which are land-based and offshore. And right now, with supply chain and all of that, there's a lot of issues that are happening that are causing these not only functional issues, but supply chain issues to actually keep these repairs. So our approach is two-pronged. We're actually focusing on the repair side, where we're doing replacement of existing fleets, but also with the OEMs, where we're actually designing our technologies to be incorporated into new fleets of turbines that are being deployed.
Okay, fantastic. And how is your initial, I would say, contact and discussion with all of those, wind turbine field manager and constructor? I mean, what's the initial feedback that you receive?
Yeah, so when we reached out to wind turbine manufacturers, they saw the potential of this solution, and they really gravitate towards it to the point where we actually have LOIs with manufacturers, right? We are at a TRL 3, so they want us to fully develop a field model so that they can do pilot tests for us or with us.
Okay, congratulations, very exciting. So what was maybe you can tell us and share with you a little bit about joining the Cleantech Open program in itself. What was your initial challenge, and what do you during that program, what did you guys learned or understood or allowed you to maybe if you have one or two piece of experience that you can quickly share with the audience during that program?
Yeah, so initially when I went into this program, I didn't know what to expect. But on first impact contact, when we met up in Boston and saw all these brilliant folks working on all these different types of technologies, it came pretty clear that we were in the right space, right? And the team that we have, they're high quality, top-notch folks, and they really honed us in because we were all over the place at the very beginning, right? As entrepreneurs, we are very excited about our technology. We just want to go out there and show the world, but they were able to rein us in, give us the structure that we needed to actually focus on these questions and answer them in a constructive way and apply them right away. So that was our main impression of the folks at Cleantech. And like I said, the other companies, they're wonderful and they've been super supportive as well.
So what's next for Cleon Mine, and how the community of founders, investors, or experts can help you?
Yeah, so what's next for us is to actually do our initial raise. A lot of this has been self-funded, so for any investors out there, you can please reach out to us. We're also looking for lab space. We're at a TRL 3, so any folks that see the potential of this technology, such as developers, OEMs, we're happy to work with you to take this to the next level.
All right. Thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing. Sounds very exciting. And thanks for coming on the show, Ryan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And congrats on being part of the finalists as well. So let's move on now with Ed and Apply Energy.
Great. Glad to be here. So we're Amply Energy. We help HVAC contractors sell more heat pumps. Switching to heat pumps is a radically more challenging job for HVAC contractors. Most jobs they've seen for decades are either service calls or tune-ups, a box swap. They basically go in, they take out the old furnace, they put in a new furnace that looked identical, but just 20 years newer. Moving someone off fossil fuels onto electric heat, much more complicated problem. And so we built software that makes that design process, paperwork, rebate management, much easier.
Okay, so tell us a bit more about it. Like, how does it work, and maybe like how did you come out with that problem that you saw in the market and you wanted to start to fix it?
Yeah, it was the intersection of a problem and breakthrough in technology. So 2-3 years ago, Apple started putting pretty good high power LiDAR on the back of all of their Pro products. So whether it's an iPad or an iPhone. That has led to an incredible ability to just on off-the-shelf software scan rooms and homes at an incredible level of detail, which lets you get accurate measurements, all sorts of helpful information. So that's been a breakthrough on the tech side. On the problem side, any good HVAC system design starts with an accurate heating and cooling load calculation. And that is based on the footprint of the home, as well as the material that's in the walls, how it's built, all that sort of stuff. And so we're building software to bring the breakthrough in hardware together with this acute customer problem, such that we can make the experience of doing the load calculation, designing the system, communicating that system design to the homeowner, to the install team, to the government and utilities that are running the rebate programs. We make all of that much easier. And that's how we got to this. We were actually in the space acting as general contractors for home electrification projects. We were working with homeowners to do solar, EV chargers, batteries, heat pump hot water heaters. And we saw this acute problem ourselves. So we started building simple software that made it easier for us. And we quickly realized that was the real opportunity.
Fantastic. And tell us a bit more about like on the user experience side of it, like how does it work? I mean, you guys work directly with the manufacturer or the installer, or is it like the the homeowner who needs to download an app or join your website? I mean, tell us a bit more like the whole process and your secret sauce there.
Well, I wouldn't tell you the secret sauce because that would be a bad idea. But the experience is, so the customer for us is the installer. In particular, the comfort advisor at the HVAC company. That's typically what the salesperson is called. They're in the home. They have an iPad in their hand. As they park their truck, they open up our app. They enter the customer's address, and from that we pull in real estate data. That's a great starting point. Square footage of the home, what's the existing HVAC system that's in there, some of the stuff that you'd see on Redfin or Zillow about a home, but just the stuff that's like very relevant to the HVAC installer. They walk in the home, and then they basically have a great consultation with the homeowner like they typically do, but instead of pulling out a laser tape measure and writing down hand notes and taking a bunch of random photos with their mobile phone, they're run through a very streamlined workflow that's in our software that involves occasionally stopping and say, hey, homeowner, instead of to take measurements, I'm going to scan the room. They stand in the center, they spin around. In about 10 seconds, they have all of the measurements and they have the load calculation. And the homeowners love it. Whereas they never really knew what was being written down on the piece of paper or whether it was accurate. Now they have like a live 3D model with all the dimensions there. They can see their home rendered with this digital twin. It just brings the design experience from something that felt like a black box before to the homeowner to now something that feels like a delightful collaborative conversation between the comfort advisor and the homeowner.
So tell us a bit more about maybe quickly in terms of your pricing model and your go-to-market strategy.
So the go-to-market strategy is basically twofold: direct sales and channel partner sales. So direct sales, we have a sales team that I lead. I spend half of every day just on the phone selling to HVAC installers. And then we have channel partners and are trying to build more channel partners. So these are folks these are organizations that are incredibly powerful in the space. So some of them are trade organizations like ACA, the Air Conditioning Contractors of America, distributors. Distributors act basically as local monopolies. There's one Mitsubishi distributor, there's one Samsung distributor, there's one Carrier distributor for a specific geographic area. They have strong relationships with installers and not just provide hardware, they also provide great technical advice. So partnering with them is critical. We're working to partner with the field service platforms. Those are ServiceTitan, Service Fusion. They're basically ERP systems for contractors, but like the collaboration between us and them could be quite beautiful. Utilities, state efficiency programs. These are organizations that are trying to get folks off fossil fuels onto electric. And so there's great distribution partnership there. And then the manufacturers themselves, the folks who make heat pumps, Mitsubishi, Samsung, Daikin, Fujitsu, would love to partner with them because they know who their best installers are. They want to sell more heat pumps. We want to sell more heat pumps. And this is an acute pain that the software solves that they know about.
In terms of business model?
We price per address. So we're trying to have a usage-based model that aligns our incentives with the installers. Every home they go in is an opportunity to drive revenue for their business. And so if they use our product in the home, we'll charge them for it. And if they don't get charged. And that lets us see, like, are we adding value on a day-to-day basis?
Okay. So tell us a bit more about like this before and after Cleantech Open. What was the experience and what did you learn during that journey? Yeah,
I mean, we face the same challenges every startup faces. It seems like there's an infinite number of things to get done, and it seems like they're all existentially important. Cleantech Open had a great structured approach to bucketing the most important things and sequencing them. And in each topic area, there was really great advice. So the place Cleantech Open started was a focus on customer discovery. And I thought we were really good at customer discovery. I'd spoken to 25, 30 potential customers. I felt like I had a good grip on the market. And there was a presenter at the Cleantech Open Academy who hammered the importance of 100 customer conversations. And he really compelled me to believe that 100 was the number, and I made that my North Star. And so I went out and I hit it over the course of 8 weeks, and he was totally right. The breadth and depth of understanding of the market was not 4 times better. It was an order of magnitude better after doing that. And so that gave us even more confidence in our product roadmap. Frankly, we totally redid our product roadmap based on those insights, and now we're quite confident in it. And so that sort of advice was massively impactful for us.
Fantastic. So what's next for you guys, and how the community of investors, founders, and experts listening to the show today can help you?
So we've just closed a very successful seed round. So we have plenty of runway, and we're hiring team members, and that's awesome. So what we're focused on is 2 things: product velocity and commercial traction. And we basically split the team down the middle. It's like we have engineers who are focused on product velocity. We have a go-to-market team who's focused on commercial traction. So execution is our priority. So for that, I have 2 asks. We're hiring software engineers. So if any folks can point us towards great backend web or mobile developers, we would love that. We're open to all 3. And then on the commercial traction side, introductions to HVAC companies that are primarily heat pump installers, introductions to distributors, to the OEMs, to utilities, to state efficiency agencies. I would welcome any of those. So if folks are willing to do that, those introductions would be gold.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ed. It was a pleasure to hear what you guys are doing. It sounds very exciting. So good luck for the rest, and thanks for coming today.
Pleasure.
All right, so let's go with Linkshen, if I'm pronouncing it right. Excuse me. If not, Alex, go.
Yeah. Hi. I'm Linkshen Ko. I'm the co-founder of Electrical, and I'm very happy to be here today. And we are a technology startup working on lithium extraction from brine sources. So currently, lithium battery become ideal power supply for electric vehicles. So we need more and more lithium for lithium battery manufacture. But the current lithium deposit distribution is very uneven around the world. So we mainly mine lithium from South America and Australia. So we develop a technology that we can mine lithium from other water sources, which have lower lithium concentration. And in the US, we're targeting geothermal brine. So we have a technology that we can use a chemical-free electrochemical method to mine lithium from brine. And it's a totally different mining method from traditional mining activities. So it's an environmentally friendly method, and can produce very high purity lithium for battery manufacturing. Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds very exciting. So tell us a bit more about how did you started to work on that project, and tell us a little bit more about a little bit more on this process and how the technology works.
Yep. So actually, both my co-founder and I, we are scientific researchers. So this is part of my PhD project. So we want to commercialize it in the company, and we participate in the American-made challenge competition held by the Department of Energy. So DOE started the geothermal lithium extraction prize in 2021. And after 2 years competition, we just won the 3 phases of the competition and recognized as a top 3 winner in the US. So we already finished the lab scale prototype demonstration. So in the company side, we will start commercial scale prototype building from 2024. And for the technology itself, it's already patented, so still is pending. So we develop a electrochemical method similar to desalination removing salt from water, but this time we just remove a separate lithium from water and leave other elements inside the water. So inspired by the desalination concept, we developed the material and the process for lithium extraction. Yeah.
Okay, so basically you use electricity to separate lithium from the water. Any specific source of like or concentration that that you need of lithium into the water to be efficient? And you know, with a regular like I would say like a water tank, like how much are you able to extract from it?
Yep, so it's a really good question. So based on our lab skill data, and we did the technical economic analysis to see what's the concentration of lithium is economic to mine. So definitely seawater has the too low concentration for economic mining. And so from our analysis, the lithium concentration has to go to over hundreds of ppm, with hundreds milligram per liter concentration to be energy sufficient and economic. And there's a lot of different brine sources that can reach this concentration. And for your next question, how much lithium we can mine? It really depends on how much lithium deposit for every site. And in the US, we have a lithium-rich geothermal brine in South California called Salton Sea. From the USGS, there's really a lot of lithium there. So over the mineable lithium, totally over 32 million tons of lithium. So it's definitely will be a very huge supply for lithium manufacturing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's only one site. I mean, like if you look at the states in general, like how do you have any idea of like how much I mean, how many areas and how much you could potentially fitting into the 100 milligram per ppm you said that could fit your thesis. So just to understand a little bit for the size of that potential market in the US side.
Yep. So the market is huge actually. So we are, how to say, so only about 0.1 million tons of lithium can power over 50 million electric vehicles. So based on the current lithium price, so about 0.1 million tons lithium can make over $3 billion revenue per year. So we are replacing more and more electric vehicles in the coming years. So the market is still huge. And for, as you mentioned, how many sites we have, definitely we'll target lithium-rich brine at the beginning. So there's a lot of lithium rich brine all over the world. There's several in the Europe, Germany, UK, and also several in Canada and the US. And also some brine sources, even surface water from China and South America, they also can be applied with our technology. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very interesting. And how invasive it is in terms of like the infrastructure that you understand, I mean, that you foresee at scale for the local environment in itself. I mean, I guess like those sources are probably in natural preserved areas. So we also understand that it's different than mining because you don't move all the dirt from the ground and the rocks and start to apply chemicals around. But you still need to have a space, how large it is, and how do you guys make the water circulating back into the environment? I mean, do you guys have any already like insights on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we will not be the brine owner. So we will partner with the brine owner. So in the US, we target on geothermal brine. So we will partner with the geothermal power companies. So they will extract the brine from underground first and use the heat to power for the electricity generation first. And they will take care of the brine extraction and the brine injection back to the ground. And we will do lithium extraction after power generation, after the brine is cooled down. It's already the waste for power generation. And for other brine sources, we have to partner with the brine owners. So as the technology provider, because current mining companies are also looking for technology replacement to use more environmentally friendly technology or novel technology to get lithium mine. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Very exciting. What's next for you guys? I mean, now that the lab phase is almost complete, your IP is about to be granted. So what's next for you in terms of like a pilot? And what's the scale of the pilot that you guys are seeing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So in 2024, our company R&D center will officially launch. So so we are also recruiting right now. So we are looking for a chemical engineer who has experience on electrofabrication, and also process engineer who has experience on electrochemical water treatment. So we will start commercial scale prototype building in 2024, and we have connections with water treatment facility manufacturer to build our the first large prototype. And we plan to have the first large prototype has the capacity of about 10 tons of lithium capacity per year. And it's easy to be duplicated for a real plant. And we will start build a real pilot plant, somewhere in US, probably in late 2025. Yeah.
Okay. Last question, maybe on the financial aspect of it. I mean, how do you guys plan to finance your capex? Because in the climate tech companies, when hardware is involved, it's always like a little bit like the scarcity and the challenge for founders to go to the next step. And what is maybe your business model? Are you guys, if you can maybe tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, no problem. So currently we are funded by federal grants, and we'll use the grant for the first prototype building. And we already contacted several investors. So we will start to raise fund in about mid or late 2024. And for the seed round, probably the large seed, because as you mentioned, so we are a kind of infrastructure side. So we need a little bit more capital cost. But what we design is a modular device, so similar to desalination system. It's easily to be expanded or built based on different water capacity. So it can decrease a lot capital cost to build a real huge plant. And for the first plant, based on our previous experiment on water treatment plant, it will cost about $5 to $8 million to build the first plant. Yeah. So we will start using VC funds to build the first pilot plant.
Okay, fantastic. So how can, I mean, the community of founders, investors, and experts listening to the show can help you?
Yeah, so we are very open for any investors who are interested in lithium industry, because I know more and more investment organization or investors working in battery industry is also looking for lithium supply chain. So if there's any funding sources or investors are interested in, I'm very happy to be connected and talk about future opportunities. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Ling-Chen, for all the amazing work that you guys are doing to clean up the lithium world. So thank you so much, and definitely, again, like everybody here, happy to follow your next adventure. All right, guys, let's move on with John and Zinco Verde.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me on here. Yeah, so should I tell you a little bit about us? So at Zinco Verde, we make metal oxides, focusing on zinc oxide. And zinc oxide is this amazing material. It's an important part of rubber, electronics, textiles, skincare, and sunscreen in so many applications. It's one why we're focusing on it. But the thing about it is, it's the right tool for so many jobs, but it always comes with a compromise. And our process helps eliminate some of those compromises by making bespoke formulations of the zinc oxide to be able to fill those roles better. But on top of that, we use 99% less energy to get there. And we're focusing on stuff like skincare and sunscreen, be able to make formulations that are good for the environment, ocean safe, and feel much better on the skin, which is the biggest barrier for a lot of our customers, consumers, from using mineral-based sunscreens.
Okay, so can you tell us a bit more about like what was the genesis behind Zinco Verde, if I pronounce it right? Tell us a bit more like
perfect.
Why did you decide to jump into that, and in a way, what's the relevant experience and motivation that you have behind starting the company?
So it's a bittersweet story. My co-founder Jacopo, his PhD advisor, who has since passed, was this brilliant man, and Jacopo wanted to have a good impact on the environment, wanted to invent something new. And during conversation, he said, "Try zinc oxide. It's everywhere." We didn't know. He didn't know. It was one of those things where it's kind of a sleeper material. And so Jacopo went in the lab, and he's brilliant. He's like an artist who chose chemistry as his medium, and he came up with this way to make zinc oxide in his revolutionary way. Like, he's a lot of knowledge of chemistry, and it just worked and kept going. And then he said to me, he's like, "Hey, Jono, I did this thing. It's really cool. I think it'll be really useful." And I said, "Well, you got to build some value into this technology." And so we reworked it from the ground up, and scaled it to something that's or redid it, reinvented the material from the electrons up so that it is scalable. And now we have a product that just works better. It's good for the environment, and it's also cost competitive. So now we're ready to roll on it.
Okay, speaking a bit about more maybe like cost competitiveness in itself. I mean, where are you guys in terms of production? What is the current unit cost that you have, and what is the projection at scale?
Yeah, so if I've understood everything correctly, so we have a provisional patent applied, and we've engaged with a law firm to be able to submit our full patent shortly. And it's looking really good in that direction. We are, this is kind of where we're at right now, is we've worked for the material. We've done some trials and simulations with each one of our customers. And I mentioned so many different applications for it. And this is one of the places that later we're going to ask about what we want in the community. And this is what we're really doing, is we're co-developing this with some of our new customers. And when I was just recently, I spent a couple of days with a customer working with our material, seeing how they are really interested in using it, and how the benefits of our material can make new products that they couldn't make before, but also things that they really want and what their consumers really need. So really what we're doing is we're co-developing these materials. And then I get the phone with Jacopo and say, "Hey, can we try this? Can we try that?" So this is where we're at right now. We're at a TRL 5 or 6. We're ready to deploy, but the benefit of our material, especially compared to the old process, is we're able to make a custom formulation for each one of our customers, and it scales very easily, smaller and larger, with that. So we're working hand in hand with some of our early potential customers, and making something that is truly better for them.
Again, tell us a bit more about the size of the market that you guys are seeing here and starting to get into, and maybe your go-to-market strategy as well.
Yeah, so market reports, they vary. Zinc oxide market is looking to be between $8 and $11 billion market for zinc oxide alone. But we're a metal oxide company, so the zinc oxide process works with other metal oxides. And as we expand, we're looking at a $20-30 billion markets of these metal oxides that are all being made using various processes that usually use a lot more energy. So we have a large impact, starting with our beachhead market, which is relatively tight, around $1 or $2 billion of the skincare industry and the pharmaceutical industry, expanding up to $8 or $11 billion of this just zinc oxide market, and moving on past that. So our company has a long legs to grow into. But our process is it's really great. I'm really a fan of our chemistry. I mean, I'm a chemist. My partner's a chemist, and the other partner is a material scientist. So we're all just you're just so impressed with how our chemistry works and how much fun it is to just deploy it into new materials and how we can change it and adapt it. That's the current market. But the fact that we can empower our customers to make products they couldn't even make before, I think we can even push the envelope on what those markets are going forward.
So speaking quickly about manufacturing in itself, I mean, what is your plan? Are you guys looking to build a plant, or are you guys will be licensing with the different partners? Tell us a bit more about that.
Yes, I guess the answer is yes, right? Because right now, these sales we have are in tens of tons, right? 10, 15, 50 tons. And so early prototypes are maybe 100 kilograms, 200 kilograms. So we're looking to build this like prototype lab, this pilot lab, which is pretty significant compared to our laboratory, but it's building this small production facility to get our customers to be confident with our material. And then once we have a certain amount of confidence or orders from our customers, then we can go and we can use some of this contract manufacturing. And as opposed to the current methodology that zinc oxide is made right now, where you have these like really unique kilns where they're boiling zinc metal, our stuff is made with more standard equipment that can be easily scaled up, or off the shelf stuff that some of these manufacturers can do. So once we have larger relationships, we're able to deploy contract manufacturing more efficiently. But as for now, since we're pretty early and we're looking for our first paying customer, we have a lot of interest. We're going to be making it in-house.
Fantastic, very exciting. So tell us a bit more like the before and after Cleantech Open. How did the program work for you? What was the experience?
Cleantech Open.
What did you learn during that program?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. And thank you so much to Cleantech Open. I was going to say this year, Olivia and Beth, I was a little hesitant about starting, and they made me confident in running the program. And it was transformative. I thought we had everything under control, but we really were a little floundering. I started this out by giving you a whole bunch of industries that we were looking at entering, and they give us, the Cleantech Open gave us a good way to look at our company and the confidence to be able to go forward and say, yeah, we're going to start with the skincare industry. It may not be the biggest market, but this is something that we can really approach. It gave us this confidence, and that's really important when you're trying to make people confident about your material. But the thing that I think that sticks with me the most is the fact that I am now able to tell our story much better, right? We have this really cool material, and we're focused on the applications. There's all these different things, and I'm a chemist, right? So I love talking about the chemistry, but I think the CTO process and my mentors, we were able to craft a story that not only got people excited about our material, our chemistry, but also really incorporated the story of how it is a clean technology, right? Seamlessly, instead of being weird and disjointed. I feel like I'm much more able to have a conversation that leaves people understanding who we are and what we do and what we care about.
Fantastic. So what's next for you guys, and how can the community of founders, investors, and experts listening to the show can help you?
Yeah, I mean, we're ready to grow. We need to grow in every area, right? We're looking to expand. We need potential customers, partners that help us co-develop, right? We don't know how to make all of these things that our customers do. So in all the areas, in rubber, in skincare, in textiles, electronics, all of these areas, if someone's interested in using a cool technology, we really want to be able to partner with them, see about how our zinc oxide or metal oxide bespoke formulations can really make them have better products. So that's really important to be able to get these potential customers and turn them into customers, right? But on top of that, continuing with the revenue stream, we're really looking to expand our effort. We need to expand our team, find people that do know these industries better than I do, better than our team does, people that are really familiar with it and can lead us, can bring us in, and expand our team to this more professional way of getting out to these customers. And yeah, any grant funding or VC money, we're looking to really get investment and to make this thing grow. We're at an inflection point where we can now making the next step is going to require more capital and more energy and more minds. But I think we've done a really good job of using the limited resources we've had so far.
Congratulations, John. Super exciting. Thank you so much for coming on the show and doing all the hard work that you do for a better and cleaner world. Thank you.
And thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right. And now we have Josna, if I'm pronouncing
Correct.
right,
right.
with Space Sense, correct?
Correct.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you, Guillaume.
Very
I
glad
love
that we have
podcasts.
a lady on the show as well. Sounds that a lot of a lot of man. It's good to have also a woman. So I'm very happy to have you here with us as well.
Absolutely. Super happy to be here. So maybe I can start with Space Sense, what we do. So
Definitely.
we are a climate data company. So what we do, we help organizations, private and government organizations, to really have access to global quality standard climate information, sustainability data, so that they can implement their sustainability goals, understand how their current state is, and also be more resilient. And it seems like all these organizations always seem to have a ton of data all the time, but when it comes down to actually answering sustainability questions or looking at climate risk, there is never enough data very specific to any specific problem. So to give you an example, today, majority of our work is in agriculture supply chains. And the biggest question these organizations face, whether it's government or PepsiCo size companies, is we have hundreds and thousands of suppliers. How is the food produced by each one of them? How have they been doing that? How does that affect their sustainability goals? And how can they support this partners in their supply chain to become more sustainable? And at the same time, given the climate risk, there is no single solution for all of them. Every solution is very localized and it's unique to that region, that climate challenge, to say, because you have this specific climate challenge, first, depending on where they are and what they're doing, what is the specific climate change they face? Once they know that, how do they support them? How do they reduce the risk? How do they help them become more resilient? All of that requires very specific type of information, and to have something that is possible and at an operational scale across the world, that's where we come in. And the biggest secret sauce of how we are able to do it is through our technology in combining machine learning and satellite data. That's our secret sauce in actually enabling that, because I think there are definitely many different ways of collecting this information, be it sending people locally, asking suppliers, putting IoT devices, sending drones. The challenge with all of them is if you don't have standardized global scale information, you cannot put the full picture together. And if you can't do that, you cannot provide reliable solutions. So that's what we do. Today, I think we are a 4-year-old company. We started in agriculture. And with Cleantech, our biggest goal was to understand how to go beyond agriculture, because our technology enables us to provide very unique solutions, but it's one part of a much bigger puzzle. Like, it's one piece of a much bigger puzzle. So for us, it made more sense to provide that same piece to more organizations that need similar information, but slightly different insight or slightly different level of granularity or slightly different use case. So that's where we felt Cleantech Open could help us.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the data sourcing that you have. I mean, how do you pull all of those data from where? I mean, you mentioned like satellite data, other data. How do you ensure the accuracy of those data, and what are the type of reporting that you give?
Yeah, so the data, we have been trying to be very flexible, and that's also a part of our internal data engine that we have built. With these satellite data sets, there are both private companies through whom we source it, public companies through whom we source it, and the biggest challenge there is all of them are their own sensors. The work we do is really putting them together, making it standardized. The insight should always be reliable irrespective of what my source of underlying data is or what my source of underlying satellite information is. So that's the work we do with our algorithms. And the kind of reporting we do today for agriculture, there are two types. One, that the ones that support regenerative farming, more towards supporting scalable advisory for sustainable agricultural practices. So in that sense, we are helping our company, our partners, our customers, they're all businesses themselves or organizations who then work with growers on the field, who then work with insurers and the entire agriculture ecosystem. So these businesses use our data insights. What they get is insight. They get information in terms of regenerative farming, saying all the millions of acres of land, how every one individual field is moving, how the needle is moving on each one of them, how do they compare between before, what do they need to change to reduce risk while being sustainable, or while being, not using too much fertilizer, reducing the fertilizer usage, optimizing water usage. So we get information about plant biomass, we give information about water content in the plants, we give them information on how different the field is within each field, but then do that globally. Another type is more on, you can call it compliance, but also towards sustainability and ESG goals of larger corporates in terms of supply chain monitoring and verification. So it is to go back 10 years, 20 years and say, for every individual source of your food, and then for all the millions of sources, how have they been over the last 10 years? Now, what is their sustainability score, if you have to put a number to it? And then now they are part of the program to be more sustainable. Are they really following that? Because it can never be a 0 to 1 transition. It'll always be a slow transition to be more sustainable. So how is that going? Monitoring that. So that supply chain monitoring, reporting, verification for supply chain sustainability are two things we are doing today. What we tried to really do during the last few months with Cleantech Open is to reuse the same capability outside of agriculture and basically understand what is our go-to-market, who is this, who are the other market verticals where this information is equally important, how do they need it, what other challenges are they facing, and how do we help them. So that go-to-market is what we wanted to do. And we progressed quite a bit on environmental services. So whether it's regenerative projects, carbon monitoring projects, but also for large industries, whether look at battery industries, how do they know how their supply chain is? It was not a very different solution for them compared to agriculture. It was a very similar solution. So we are trying to venture into more outside other use cases as well.
Okay, that's super exciting. Maybe one thing in terms of like your business model and your current, customer base. You mentioned like mainly focus at this stage still on the agri-tech or agriculture landscape and the industrial and the agri-food business. What's next? You start to have like some potential other customers outside of that vertical, and how is the business model that you guys are offering now?
So there are two elements of it. So one, reusing what we already have to target outside of agriculture. We have through Cleantech Open, we identified two verticals. We are right now testing which one we would go full force on. We are close to finishing some of those pilots in the last few months. We would be going into more additional traction starting next quarter. So that is our goal in terms of go-to-market, to increase the market penetration in this new market. At the same time, in agriculture, in the last few months, we were testing some new possibilities, new insights for different reasons. For example, it is still climate tech, it is still more carbon monitoring. So right now, through our pilot programs, R&D projects, they are still R&D projects, unfortunately, to get the quality of information they need. So that'll still continue early next year. And by end of next year, we hope to productionize those so that the entire carbon value chain for verified carbon credits would be much more faster and accessible to many more people.
Okay. Last question on my side, competition-wise, where do you guys stand and how different are you?
Yeah, this is a question I get all the time, and it's a very different positioning because I think the market is still very scattered, and not somebody's doing some element of it, but not everything. Somebody else is looking at this in a more verticalized solution, saying I'll do everything in agriculture, or somebody's looking at much more technology high level and saying I'll only do this much with this drones or only with satellite data. So we took a slightly different approach to say we will try to resolve very specific climate solutions. And our go-to-market has been pivoting a little bit on expanding what our technology internal IP can do, and then expanding that as well with stronger focus on we'll have better solutions for each vertical. We won't expand it until we have better grip on the vertical we are trying to focus on. So that's been the case. So in terms of that, we do have, if you look at space, we do have a few competition there, but they lack the kind of usability and business readiness in terms of insights they are able to generate compared to us. On the other side, when we compare with other climate companies that only focus on very specific climate data, they really miss out on the kind of information we provide. For example, there are many forecasting tools, forecasting data providers. They focus on very narrow scale of what they can help you with. So I would say it's still scattered. So what we provide is still, there are very few people trying to do that.
Okay, so how can the community of investors, founders, and experts listening to the show can help you?
So right now, for us, what is most important is if you know of an organization or you are part of an organization where you are constantly looking at how to be more sustainable, or knowing what is your sustainability today, or be more climate resilient, please reach out to us. We would love to understand what that data looks like for you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jostana. Sorry, I apologize for mispronouncing your name. Can you repeat it for me?
Jostna.
Jostna, voilà. Thank you so much, Jostna. We'll get the previous one. Thank you so much for your time and all the hard work that you do for making this world a better world and in the fight against climate change as well. So thank you so much, and congrats on again graduating from the program. So guys, thank you so much for all of you joining today. I hope it was a very exciting and interesting episode. I learned a ton. So motivated for me, and feeling so much motivation of seeing all of those brilliant minds like you pushing the ball towards a better and cleaner world, and building amazing companies that can have a great impact as well. So looking forward to follow you guys in the future and be in touch. Thanks again for joining us on the Tech for Climate podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned next week for more climate tech insights. In the meantime, head on over to our webpage at startupbasecamp.org, where we have lots more insights and resources for anyone wanting to get involved in climate tech. If you find our resources useful, please consider donating to support our small self-funded team. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, and see you next time.